This park has over 5,200 cherry blossom trees in 18 different varieties and flavors. Welcome to Washington, D.C., Newark, New Jersey. Yes, you heard correctly. Over 5,200 trees in 18 different varieties, more than the entire city of Washington, D.C. So, how did this unlikely park become the cherry blossom capital of the United States of America? Well, it goes back to 1926, when Caroline Bamberger, whose brother Louis founded Bamberger's department store. And if you grew up in Newark and Greater North Jersey, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because if you aren't old enough to have shopped there yourself, your parents and grandparents certainly did. Anyway, Caroline Bamberger had returned from a trip to Japan enamored by the beauty and grace of the cherry trees she saw, and felt compelled to grace, Branch Brook Park with more cherry blossom trees in Washington, D.C., which at the time was the cherry blossom capital of the U.S., in addition to also being the U.S. capital, and still is, but anyway. So, as the legend goes, D.C. had 2,000 cherry trees at the time, and Caroline had 2,001 planted in Branch Brook Park. So many trees, in fact, that the park had to be extended north of Heller Parkway into the town of Belleville, and it is in this section that the bulk of the cherry blossom trees exist today, although there is another cluster in the southern division in Newark around an area known as the Prudential Grove near Park Avenue and within view of the famous Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart. So this part of the pathway is actually part of the Lenape Trail, right next to the Second River, which was once part of the Morris Canal. And this iconic arch bridge, which you see in a lot of pictures and videos about the park, has a little railroad history to go with it. You didn't think you were getting away from that, did you? Of course not. That is the bridge that once carried New Jersey Transit's Boonton Line, which ended passenger service in 2002. Before that, it was owned by Conrail. Erie-Lackawanna Erie was once known as the Greenwood Lake Line, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to bore you with the details. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to read more about that. It's an iconic arch bridge over the Second River, Morris Canal, Lenape Trail, here in Branch Brook Park, still technically in the Belleville section. Keep going. Come here on the day of the Cherry Blossom Festival or any given weekend in April during cherry blossom season. This park is packed with people, wall-to-wall people. The rest of the year it's pretty dead, but for cherry blossom season, this section, and especially this part of the park, is packed with people. I'm here on a Wednesday morning, so it's not too bad. Definitely more people than usual, but not too crowded. It's manageable. The annual Branch Brook Park Cherry Blossom Festival was begun in 1976 by a woman named Kathleen P. Gallup, a Newark resident, corporate lawyer for Prudential, and a historic preservation expert. She started it as a way to bring about positive change and a sense of hope and renewal in a downtrodden era. Remember, 1976 was only 9 years after the devastating 1967 riots and subsequent decline of many parts of the city. Since that time, the festival has grown and become a yearly tradition for people and families from across North Jersey and the wider region, and even has international notoriety. It is a celebration of not only the park itself and its trees, but also of Japanese culture and arts. In Japan, cherry blossoms, called sakura, are symbolic of spring and the renewal it represents, as well as the delicate nature of life, since the blossoms themselves only last for about 2 weeks or so, here today, gone the next. The festivals themselves are known as hanami, literally translating into watching the blossoms. The Branch Brook Park Cherry Blossom Festival is held at the Cherry Blossom Welcome Center in the Belleville section, where the bulk of the trees lie, and features live performances of Japanese music and dance, samurai shows, and of course, food. But today, I'm simply walking amongst the trees, taking in their natural beauty. Over the years, the number of cherry blossom trees had dwindled, and by the early 2000s, an official count of the trees was conducted, and it was discovered that the number had dipped to less than 1,000. Seeing as those were rookie numbers, an effort was begun to pump those numbers up, and today the tally stands somewhere around 5,200 trees, well in excess of DC's count. In addition to the cherry blossoms, Branch Brook Park is also historically significant in other ways. The park itself was designed by the godfather of urban parks, Frederick Law Olmsted, who also designed such famous urban parks as Central and Prospect Parks in New York, Mount Royal Park in Montreal, the Emerald Necklace in Boston, and many others. His signature design was a mixture of open meadows, ponds, lakes, and clumps of forest, all of which are present in Branch Brook,
and although cherry blossoms were not part of the original design, they fit in flawlessly and have become the main feature of the park. There are also other unique landmarks, such as the Ballantine Gates.
Standing outside the Ballantine Gates. This was donated by the Ballantine family, Robert Ballantine to be exact, in 1898. It was restored a couple of years ago. It sits here on the corner of Lake Street, which is this street right here, and Ballantine Parkway, which is that street up there that goes up the hill. This is the Forest Hill section of Newark. It once a very wealthy neighborhood, settled by the bourgeoisie, the Ballantines included, the founders of Ballantine beer. So yeah, you could literally say these gates were built with beer money. Now, of course, as you may or may not know, no visit to Brook Park is complete without a visit to one of the hot dog trucks surrounding the park. Unfortunately, my go-to spot, Chris's, he's not there today. I think he is closed on Wednesday and Thursday at the moment, so being that today is Wednesday, he's not there. The other two are JJ's on Bloomfield Ave and Tony's on Park Avenue. Since we're on Park Avenue, let's hit up Tony's.
Dirty water dogs, as they're sometimes called, are a tri-state area staple that began with New York City push carts and have spread to hot dog trucks across North Jersey. They are usually Sabrett's brand hot dogs boiled in water with a mixture of herbs and spices and topped with any number of toppings, ranging from the basics such as mustard and ketchup, although I can't fathom why anybody would want to put ketchup on a hot dog, but that's just me, to the more outlandish such as mashed potatoes and coleslaw. Me, I'm a fan of spicy onions, sauerkraut, and mustard, a combination some establishments, such as Tony's, call the Hot Works.
This is the Hot Works. You can see those hot onions glistening in the afternoon sun with those hot pepper flakes, the sauerkraut, mustard, boiled Sabrett's hot dog. All right, let's take a bite of this. Now, normally I don't film myself eating, but
is the Concourse Hill Welcome Pavilion directly across from the Basilica. Now let's go inside. Being perched on one of the highest elevations in Newark near the south end of Brook Park in the lower Broadway section, the site for what was originally known as Sacred Heart Cathedral was chosen specifically for both its commanding views of the Orange Mountains to the west and the cityscapes of Newark and New York to the east, as well as visibility of the cathedral from miles around. Construction began in January 1898 and, after much trial and tribulation, completed in 1954, with the dedication taking place that year. The original design called for English-Irish Gothic revival, but was later changed to French Gothic revival. In 1974, it was designated an historic landmark by the New Jersey Historical Society, and as a National Historic Site 2 years later in 1976. In 1995, Pope John Paul II visited the cathedral and conferred the title of Minor Basilica, thus giving the church its current name, Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart. It is currently the 5th largest cathedral in North America and serves as the seat of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Newark. This place is amazing. I'm in awe every time I come in here. Now, unfortunately, there's no music today. No services, at least not at the moment. But if you really want to see or hear this cathedral in its glory, you have to come here either during a church service or when there's an organ concert going on. Because let me tell you, this organ, over 9,000 pipes, it's a sight or a sound to behold. But even still, there's a lot of people in here, I guess, because a lot of people in the park because of the cherry blossoms. So, but all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, you know what to do, and you'll see me in the next one. Later.